Jai Ganesha.
Jai Ganesha.
Welcome. Dr. Malini Iyer. Or should I say Malini?
Malini.
The Deshi accent, right?
The Desi accent.
What do Americans call you? Malini?
Malini. Maloney.
Mal-
Melanie.
Melanie, that's funny, yeah.
Yeah.
So, just a pleasure to, be speaking to you. We just did a retreat. I know you came in from LA. You have a real job, unlike some of the yoga teachers here who are like more hippie energy. But you got a inner hippie. So part of this video is, we're going to get into what's your story. But then the idea is to, number one, have teaching moments where we can inspire people.
Yeah.
And also get to know you, for people to get to know you. And, unfortunately, many times I meet people who are keep reliving the story, especially if it's, something where they're the victim. So with those people, I encourage them at some point to drop the story, but it's important to share it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So please share who you are, anything about you want to share.
Who I am? I'm many people.
Yes.
And I identify with that much more than identifying with just being a scientist.
Yes.
When I came to LA about 12 years ago.
From Mumbai.
From Mumbai.
Which college you go to in Mumbai?
I went to Bhavans to do my undergrad.
Near Churchgate.
Bhavans Andheri.
Andheri, okay. East or west? See, I know Mumbai, so we're geeking out. My mom lives in Malad West here.
Yeah, so Andheri West. I live in Daisar.
Yes.
So, did my fair share of Mumbai living, local trains.
Yeah, I'm a guru of local trains.
Yeah, jumping in and out of the train.
Okay, I'm getting old for that, yeah.
Yeah, so when I was doing so I'm the only one in my undergrad class who has still been on the science path, as in studying biotech.
I see.
Everybody else. In India, this is a sad case because they have all these fancy programs, but they don't have an infrastructure for people to grow from those programs. So a lot of people left biotech.
Labs and all that, yes.
Yeah. A lot of people
They
left.
probably went to IT, yeah.
They went to IT.
Yeah.
So I knew I had to move long before the journey started.
Right. But let me pause you. Where were you spiritually at that stage?
Always had a spiritual inclination. I grew up very poor because my parents had a love marriage and didn't have much growing up.
Right.
So I used to go and drop my brother to school, and
in Dahisar.
In Dahisar,
which is really a far suburb of Mumbai.
It's a far suburb of Mumbai. This was like from 7 to 12 years old.
Right.
But spontaneously would like walk into the Shiva temple.
Wow.
And the aarti is going on. So I would follow a few things like do not leave while the aarti is going on. Sit there and immerse in it.
Yes.
And everybody would see this little girl and
would it be fair to say you were more a cultural Hindu than a religious or spiritual?
I don't know what to call it. Because cultural Hindu also has a lot of baggage with it.
Yeah. What kind of baggage? We're going to drill deep down here. This is not a PC conversation.
Like I would never be allowed to leave my hair open. And my mom is a Protestant, so she grew up in a very orthodox, conservative family.
Christian, yeah.
Christian family. So there were a lot of restrictions.
I see.
And being a girl, being the eldest in the family, I have to my plight, I have a younger brother. I love him a lot, but everybody else loved him even more.
Yeah.
So, like growing up with that,
Yeah.
kind of made me an overachiever because I didn't
Right.
identify with nobody validated me.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've seen that in Indian families, including Jyotis, the boy gets more respect than the sisters, you know.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, you know. There's still love, but
Yeah.
it's great gradation.
It's a gradation. Um, yeah, people would say I would always stand first in class. And it's not because I would study a lot, but people would say, especially like relatives would say, oh, Malini is very hardworking.
Mm.
And Milan, my brother, is not hardworking at all, but is very intelligent. So doesn't need to study.
Yeah.
Whatever he gets is
Yeah.
just like talent.
Patriarchy is huge in India too, right?
Yeah. So I never learned swimming in India because my mom would never let me go to a swimming pool.
Right, right.
And, that gets validated by being a cultural Hindu because everybody
Yes.
reinforces that.
Yes.
You have to dress a certain way,
Right.
always wear a bindi.
Which is really cultural, right?
It's cultural, but it has spiritual significance,
Yes.
but nobody explains that to you growing
That,
up.
I had that problem too, growing up in Mumbai. I was a cultural Hindu. I would accompany my mom to temple, but she wasn't highly religious either. So, but I would, I wouldn't be against, but I was definitely not into religion. More, I would say, more agnostic. But let's come on, focus on you. You are close to your dad, and he is Hindu. He was Hindu, married to your mom, a Protestant Christian. But I get the feeling that you were close to dad too, right? Big time.
I was only close to dad.
I see.
I think I mean, in India, growing up culturally, you never answer back. You just
Yeah,
nod your head and accept.
yeah,
So, and it comes from wanting to get the approval of parents.
yeah.
And that's what I inherited from my mom. The one, Nandi bell, just nod.
Nandi
and
bell. That's funny.
Yeah,
The Nandi is like the cow or the bull,
the bull.
which is meek,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
So, and her entire life was trying to get acceptance from her parents.
So it's
Yeah.
continues.
It
Yes.
continues. And then, so I would have these spontaneous moments of nobody would tell me to go to the temple, but I would show up because I'm so drawn to that arti or something.
Right.
And then, of course, religion was not enforced from my dad's side of the family.
Sure. Because
So
that's fairly Hindu, right? Hindu is no,
Yeah.
you do what you want. If you're interested, do it. Otherwise, it's
Yeah.
free, right?
Yeah. And so questioning began when really we started going to vacation Bible class. And they would say all these things and they will say there is no God in the Murtis.
Yeah.
And so I would go back to my dad because I didn't know whom to confide in.
Sure.
And I'm confused.
And how old were you at that time?
11.
I see.
And then, he would start explaining the significance of farm and why there is a farm. And, you can say there is life in the Murti or there's no life in the Murti.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
And what's the ultimate goal?
The form, the significance is the life, and what is the ultimate goal? And what did he share was the ultimate goal?
So he shared that the farm is there just to support us. It is just, and I was learning to ride a bicycle.
Yes.
So you have those training wheels. The farm is the training wheels. And once you learn how to ride the bicycle, the training wheels come off.
Wow, that's a good metaphor.
You
Yeah.
don't need the farm anymore.
Yeah,
You
So
can.
the form has a role to play in realizing the formless
Yes.
nature of the self.
Yes.
That that is the so right teachings. That's what we're trying to do, right? But most Indians don't know that themselves, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And these was the short conversations. We would never and I would just understand that line and whatever way I could understand and just move on. Um, when I was 18, I did Art of Living.
Right. I'm familiar with that, yeah.
And not because I'm like a devotee or something, it was just like trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Uh, there was so much confusion going on in life,
Yes.
teenagers, and
Yes.
there's a lot of pressure. Either you're a doctor or you're an engineer or you're doomed,
I've been
basically.
through that, yes.
So, and it's not like my family's enforcing, it's the cultural enforcement.
Yep.
And then you come into this general category of people who don't have any reservation, no
Right.
affirmative action.
Right.
So you are subjected to that. You want, I had a desire to go to a particular medical college
Right.
and all that. And it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. The
Yeah.
fight and the struggle didn't make sense.
The divisions, and yeah. Which medical college you end up going?
I did not go to a medical college
Okay.
in the end.
You came here for PhD
I came here for my master's
at USC.
at USC. Then
That's a good school.
Yeah, it is. I lucked out.
Okay.
And it is a good experience because USC has a lot of desis.
Yes.
It takes a lot of desi
Desi is Indian. By the way.
Indian graduate students.
I came as a Desi grad student in 1984.
Oh my God, I can't even believe
So
how
I'm
you.
like ancient,
But also, acclimatizing would have been so different.
Yeah, but there were many Desis around, so
Okay.
easy.
Yeah. So if there are several people in the same boat,
Yeah.
everybody knows the system.
Yeah,
Somebody
yeah.
has figured it out, and then you just follow.
Passed out. Yeah, passed on. Yeah.
Yeah. So that way it became easier. And what happened was living a regular life, got into a PhD program, was about to give my qualifying exams, and my dad passed away.
Yeah. I remember you sharing he was in Afghanistan. That was sort of a tough moment, perhaps a Kali moment,
Yeah.
right? Somebody who was a rock and
Yeah.
was your mentor.
Yeah.
Um,
And a friend,
yeah.
and a real friend.
Yeah.
Like I could tell my dad anything
Wow.
and would not be judged.
Yeah. That's what a real good parent is, more of a friend.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Yeah.
first time I took a tequila shot, the first thing I did is I called my dad and I was like, Dad, I did this. And he's like, you had fun? And I said, yeah. He's like, then have one more and then that's it, okay? And I did go and have one more and that was it. And
One shot at a time.
yeah.
That's right. That's right. So would it be fair to say your spiritual sort of seeking got deeper after your dad's passing away?
Yes.
And you were in America at that time.
Yes. And that was a boon. Because I think till then I had a disgust towards Indian culture,
Yeah.
how we get treated there, and just didn't want to look at it.
Right. It's understandable. Yeah.
And it being in America helped dissociate from being a cultural Indian
Yes.
and reconnecting to being a spiritual Indian.
I love that. That's a good one. Same thing happened for me, but over a larger time scale. I was turned off by some aspects, but the spirituality kind of got me back to the real Indian
Yeah.
tradition. So, in a nutshell, you got a PhD from USC in
In physiology.
biophysiology, and then you got a job and all that. But I want to focus more on your spiritual growth and your talents, because I feel, there are a couple of basic archetypes you have, right? One is Ganesha, because I just sense you have that decisiveness too. And you got a dancing Ganesh from me, and you're a dancer. You also studied and practiced hard to get your Arangetram as a Bharatnatyam dancer, which is very intricate dance.
Mhm.
And it has all the poses of Shiva, all the mudras, and that's Saraswati, the arts.
Mhm.
And then you studied Vedic astrology. All the while doing a PhD, having a job, that's serious commitment.
Yeah. So everything was happening during my PhD. My PhD mentor doesn't know this, and he would
How many
highly
papers did you write?
I have about 22 published papers.
That's serious. I have 9 and 1 patent. Patent came later. I thought I was doing well. You're
Yeah,
like extra, as the millennials would say.
extra.
It's like my daughter calls me extra. She's
Yeah.
25. It means over the top.
I think my peers call me extra too.
So you are like, yeah, that's sort of in your DNA to overachieve and work hard. I love that.
Yeah.
So you studied Vedic astrology, several levels. Are you a practicing astrologer?
Yes. I do practice. I do readings. I don't advertise it.
Are you like paid for that? Are you a professional? That means a professional.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So at the end of this filming, we'll put your information so people can reach you. What I also love is your skeptical science inquiry training. But what particularly struck me about you is when I gave my workshop in Moksha festival, and Zach was also there. But you were like on it. I would ask, people who know me, I randomly ask questions to the audience, and you were like, I was pleasantly surprised. So that inspires me, seeing someone young with a bright mind, and a big heart. It's not the mind, it's a heart and the mind, right? So we talked about the dancing Ganesh, which you did get from me, which was a synchronicity. When I showed you your archetype as a dancing Ganesh, I had forgotten you do Bharatnatyam. And then you always thought your base archetype is Saraswati and Ganesh. But I suggested your stretch one is Lakshmi.
Yeah.
And I'm always interested in the stretch archetype for people because it's where you want to go. Sometimes we don't know where we want to go. So they pull us. These archetypes like bubble from the collective unconscious. That collective unconscious is the Akashic records. So everything about you has already happened. So they know because the archetypes come from there. So the only reason I suggested Lakshmi is, so let's go over this Lakshmi.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question. When you look at her, what do you feel? It's about feelings, At the end of the day, it's visual intelligence. So you observe a Murti and then EQ and then IQ, both. So all three. And please don't make sure the camera sees the Lakshmi.
Yeah. So I was observing her before we started. And in her eyes, there is ocean.
Ocean. Wow.
And she comes from Varuna, right?
Yes, that's waters. Yes. The churning of the ocean.
Ocean. So I have a small, this size Lakshmi at my altar.
Yes.
And it's only in the past year and a half or 2 years I've been invoking her.
Right.
And I do see water in her eyes.
And interestingly, she resides in the navel, the Swadhisthana chakra, which is called Apaha, which actually means waters. It's a plural, waters of the belly. So that's fascinating. You see waters in the eye, and it's 2 eyes, so that's plural, waters. So Apaha literally means plural. Jyoti did a meditation on the waters of the belly a couple of days ago. This is after a retreat. We're having this conversation. What else do you notice?
Just tranquility.
Yes.
And that's a weak word. There's no English word for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Shanti. You mean Shanti or?
Shanti, combined with like siddhi, like it's just like an enlightened tranquility. It's not numbness.
It's buzzing.
It's buzzing, but it's
It's peaceful.
peaceful.
I love that. So that buzzing peacefulness is called Shri,
Shri.
luminosity. It's not beauty. It can be with men or women. That's why the sages are called Shri, like Shri Shri, right?
Yeah.
There's a guy in India who calls himself Shri Shri Shri. So you wonder where it can end, right?
Yeah.
It's funny. So that Shri is shown by the lotus. It grows in mud. So the idea is the world is like mud, samsara, but we can be like lotus.
Mm-hmm.
So Shri is like luminosity. It can be the sparkle in the eyes when you're feeling buzzed and peaceful.
Yeah.
Perhaps after meditation, yoga, chanting. Shri is also outer. When we do anything mindfully, when you talk to people, or the way you do a yoga pose, the way you clean the toilet, everything is done with Shri. The
Yeah.
way you do a scientific experiment, Shri is being mindful. So that's peace in action, the Shanti. And that's the lotus,
Yeah.
So her another name is Shri, right?
Shri.
And her bija mantra is Shreem. So her mantra is Om Shreem Mahalakshmi Namaha. So I know you came in on Saturday, but on Thursday or maybe, we did our Lakshmi meditation on Friday. Because Friday is Lakshmi's day, payday too, right? So we all sat in circles, and Lakshmi joined everyone in a circle. And we did a double meditation. So first meditation, we observed her. After meditating with the mantra, invoke Lakshmi from within you. The outer invokes the inner. And then second meditation, you become Lakshmi, right? No need to chant the mantra, you are Lakshmi. You feel a little tingling in the hands, something in the heads. And at the end of the meditation, everyone just gazed at each other, one on one. That's where they felt the luminosity. And true abundance, she's a goddess of abundance, is really peace of mind. It's not the money. Money is like, it's important, but it's not, it's a stepping stone. It's a training wheel. The real abundance she gives you is peace of mind, where there's enoughness, It's a lack of lack. Because that builds anxiety,
Yeah.
People feel there's a lack, And Lakshmi is, so this hand is abundance, as you know, Varada Mudra, this is fearlessness. And Lakshmi is all the four quadrants of the hero's journey of Shiva Nataraj, which is Artha, Kama, Dharma, Moksha, the four hands. Moksha is fearlessness. So she kind of is an all-encompassing goddess who gives you your needs wherever you are. So you're young, you're going in your job, but there's some karma, there's desires, and that's okay. She says it's okay, but you have to do it with Shri, with mindfulness. And then perhaps then you do it dharmically. Artha, Kama, Dharma, Moksha. So you do it ethically, otherwise there'll be conflicts if you do it illegal. Then finally she leads you to moksha.
Yeah.
And the beauty is you don't have to wait. The Indian tradition is they wait until I'm retired. We should be like my man Aaron. He's going for moksha at a young age, So you can do that. The self-realization, the pursuit can happen at any age. But you can still be a householder. So that's shown by the leg down, leg up. Where the leg down is you can be grounded, work a job, don't quit your day job, pay the rent. The leg up means you can be on the spiritual path. In the Buddhist tradition, it's also called the royal ease pose. Kuan Yin has a royal ease. She looks like majestic. So the other distinguishing thing about her is this owl. That's a vehicle. What's your any owl metaphor comes to your mind? What does owl symbolize to you?
Mysticism.
Mysticism. Yes. because you know why? Owl is quiet. There's no chatter. The owl goes inwards.
Mm-hmm.
And the owl comes alive at night when nobody's around. And it can see through night. It's a light.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's such a beautiful, it's a beautiful murti for that, you know.
Yeah.
So you have a goddess who is a householder tradition, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
very much Hindu.
Yeah.
Hindu is being integrated in the world, not be a monastic.
Yeah.
But yet have the mystic. And to me, Lakshmi is deeply feminine.
Yes.
Okay. It's the, you know, to fight patriarchy, one doesn't need to be a Kali.
Mm-hmm.
We can have the same strength being feminine. And to me, that's Lakshmi.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Okay. And, you know, so there's a base archetype and a stretch. So base I felt was Ganesh and Saraswati. So stretch is where she'll pull you. So one of the things I personally see in you is leadership. You know, at a young age, but you know, age is doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
So this mudra, Varada, is for abundance, but the abundance of two kinds. One is material, but more importantly, leadership in spirituality. So the charisma sort of builds because you have the wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
That wisdom comes from Saraswati.
Mm-hmm.
She's always there. And you've done the work. So flow state means you do the work. The Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours, and then you get in the flow.
Mm-hmm.
Things happen effortlessly. But you can expand, get a lot of results done with effortless. When that happens, you become more a leader and people see that. And real abundance is spiritual abundance,
Mm-hmm.
where people are drawn to your energy, so your community becomes your family. That's why I'm feeling Lakshmi for you as a stretch archetype, as a more of a leader, coming from abundance, coming from Shri, the mystic element of the owl. So I would love for you to share anything in closing. I know you and I went quite a bit, but I love this conversation. I love to learn from young people, you know.
It's interesting that you connect Lakshmi to Moksha too.
Yes,
Which is a little rewiring of my brain
yes,
to because we imagine Lakshmi as a, householder, businesses.
yes.
You want Lakshmi, and there was a point in my life where I was seeking moksha, and Nirvana Shatakam says the soul is neither born, neither it will be liberated. So
That's right.
letting even go of moksha.
Listen to Jyoti's song, Nirvana Shatkam. It's on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Go
So
ahead. Yeah.
I think connecting all four
Yeah.
pillars of life.
Yeah.
That's
And she decides what's appropriate for you and
Yeah.
gives you enough dose of whichever quadrant you're in. So to me, Lakshmi is fully integrated, well integrated,
mm,
which is a very beautiful journey.
yeah.
So we're going to put contact information of Dr. Malini Iyer. She's from Los Angeles. She'd be available for consults and also just being inspirational for people from all walks of life on your journey. Thank you.
Thank
Malini.
you. Thank you.
Jai Ma.